Good day, sir. My name is Myishan, Lumacang, and the topic that I will be discussing today is all about unemployment rate. But before I proceed with the discussion, let me present to you my financial roadmap. My financial roadmap is classified into three: the short-term goals, which are attainable within 1 to 2 years; the medium-term goals, which are attainable within 3 to 5 years; and the long-term goal, which are attainable within 6 to 10 years. As for my short-term goals, I listed 3 goals. First is to save for my graduation expenses. The time duration for this, or the time frame that I set for this goal, is only 12 months. I already started last January 2025, and then the end of this time frame will be January 2026. So the strategy to accomplish this goal is to save at least 210 pesos per week. And the total amount that I'll be saving will be 10,000 pesos. The second short-term goal is to add another scent for my small business perfume in June 2026. So the time frame would be saving from February 2026 to June 2026. That is 4 months savings. The strategy is to save at least 375 per week. So the total expected outcome, or the total amount, will be 6,000. Next goal would be to apply for work as a government employee, could be a bank teller or any position that fits my profession. And the saving time would be January 2027 and June 2020, up to June 2027. The goal is to save at least 1,400 per month or 350 per week. And the total accumulation would be 7,000. That will be used for processing the requirements for applying. Let's proceed with my medium-term goals. In my medium-term goals, I listed 2 major goals. First is to save up for my expenses for my siblings' graduation in 2028. My sister is studying in National University and expected to graduate in 2028. So the saving time, or the time frame, is from January 2027 up to April 2028. So that is a 15 months savings. So the strategy would be to save at least 1,350 per month. That is allocation from my salary from the work that I applied and my short-term goals, or from my affiliate income, since I do affiliation for my side hustles and for my other source of income. The total expected amount would be 20,000. So that 20,000 would only be my allowance for the trip, because our plane ticket is already sponsored. Next goal is to expand my business, or to have at least a stall in a mall for my perfume business. It is always a dream to have a stall, or to process something, to process the legalities for my perfume business, and to have a stall in a mall. So that saving time would be May 2027 up to June 2029. That is 25 months savings. Save at least 6,000 monthly. It could be 1,500 weekly from my income and my perfume business, and from my other sources of income if needed. So I need to accumulate 150,000 for that business expansion. That includes the legalities, the stalls itself, the rent, and the additional inventory that will be used in that another operation. And lastly would be my long-term goals. I listed 2. First is to purchase a 100 square meter land in 2033. So I'm picturing it out to be a 1 year installment. So I need to have, or to save 50,000 for down payment. So the saving period would be 2030 to 2033. 2030 to 2032. That is the saving period for my 50,000 down payment. Next goal is to build a house with a commercial area in 2034. So from the first goal, that is expected to be paid in 2034 after paying the land, the installment land, I will build a house with a commercial area. So the presented picture would be ideally would be the house that I can build, because that is really what I aim for. So the budget is 3 million pesos for the house, and it could be from housing loan, or it depends, because that may be the time that I have already my family. So the planning would be between me and my partner. So that was my financial roadmap. Now let's proceed with the main topic, which is the unemployment rate. What is unemployment rate? So unemployment rate is a key economic indicator that measures the percentage of the total labor force that is unemployed. Note that labor force does not refer to every citizen. These are individuals ranging from 16 years old and older who either have a job or seeking for employment and willing to work. The unemployment rate is typically released by national statistics authorities, specifically the Philippine Statistic Authorities, by monthly or quarterly basis. This is also used to assess the health of the country's economy. Unemployment rate can be calculated by dividing the number of unemployed individuals by the total labor force and multiply it by 10. To simplify it, unemployment rate is equals to unemployed divided by labor force times 100, where the number of people unemployed are all unemployed citizens ranging from 16 and above, and the labor force are the number of people ranging from 16 and above with or without job. For us to understand it better, let me give you an illustration. So here is the most recent unemployment rate of the Philippines. This is uploaded by the Philippine Statistic Authorities. So last February 2025, the unemployment rate of the Philippines is 3.8%. So how did they compute it? So according to the data provided, the number of unemployed citizens is 1,940,000, and the labor force is 51,090,000. So using the formula, which is the unemployed divided by workforce times 100, the result is 3.8%. So let's proceed with a benchmark. How are we going to identify if this rate is low, moderate, and high? So as for low, 4% and below, that is considered to be low. 4% up to 6%, that is moderate, and 6% and above, that is high. So as for February 2025, the unemployment rate of the Philippines is still in its low level. Now let's proceed to the influence of unemployment rate on stock investment behavior. So the unemployment rate directly influences investors' behavior and stock market trends, especially because it reflects the strength or weaknesses of the economy. First is rising unemployment rate negatively impact the stock market or the stock investment behavior. Why? It's because a rising unemployment rate are typically signals economic slowdown. So companies are likely earning less revenue, reducing hiring or laying off workers, and potentially facing lower consumer demand. Investors often become pessimistic, leading to a decline in stock prices, particularly in consumer-driven sectors such as retail, manufacturing, and hospitality. Lastly, a high unemployment rate can cause increased market volatility and a prompt sell-off of equities, especially from sectors that are economically sensitive. Next would be the declining unemployment rate. If the rising unemployment rate is a negative impact, the declining unemployment rate is a positive income. So declining means decreasing, or the unemployment rate declines. Why does it contribute or can considered be a positive impact? First is a declining rate is interpreted as a sign of economic recovery or expansion. It suggests that companies are hiring, consumer confidence is improving, and spending is likely to rise. Next is this fosters investors' confidence, often resulting in higher stock prices and greater market activity. Sectors such as consumer goods, technology, and financials may benefit from increased investors' interest. Next would be how does investors or traders react to unemployment rate. Investors and traders closely monitor unemployment data and react accordingly. Their responses vary based on the direction of the change, magnitude, and expectations. As for short-term traders, they often look for deviations from forecasts. If the actual unemployment rate is lower than expected, it may lead to quick buying activities. So, on the other hand, if the unemployment rate is higher than expected, this could trigger rapid selling. Next is for long-term investors. So as for long-term investors, they assess unemployment rate as part of the macroeconomic picture. A stable or improving unemployment rate supports long-term investment decisions, while persistent high unemployment rate may lead to portfolio rebalancing, shifting from cyclical to defensive stocks. Lastly is for institutional investors. Fund managers and analysts interpret unemployment data alongside inflation, GDP, and interest rates. They may adjust equity exposure based on expected policy changes. Example is monetary tightening or stimulus, following labor market trends. Now let's proceed with the implications of the unemployment rate. So there are 4 implications of unemployment rate. First is economic growth. Second is consumer spending. Third is inflationary pressures and policy decisions. As for economic growth, high unemployment rate often coincides with slow GDP growth, reduced production, and lower tax revenues. Conversely, low unemployment rate is generally linked to stronger economic activity and government stability. Second implication is for consumer spending. The labor market directly influences consumer confidence and spending. Employed individuals have more disposable income, which stimulates business growth and drives corporate profits, a major driver of stock performance. Third is the inflationary pressures. A very low unemployment rate may lead to wage inflation. as businesses compete for limited labor supply. This could prompt central banks to raise interest rates, affecting borrowing costs, corporate profits, and ultimately stock valuations. Lastly is the policy decisions. Central banks such as the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or the BSP or the US Federal Reserves include unemployment rates or trends in their monetary policy decisions. Rising unemployment rate could encourage stimulus packages or interest rate cuts, while decreasing unemployment rate could lead to policy tightening to control inflation. To sum up everything, the unemployment rate is a powerful macroeconomic signal. It affects consumer confidence, corporate profits, and investment strategy. Rising unemployment often leads to bearish sentiment and defensive positioning. Declining unemployment supports risk-on behavior and equity growth. And unemployment rate directly impacts monetary policy and capital market flows.